Okay, so am I audible to you all?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so I hope you have just gone through the last video which I sent this morning. So in the last class, we have to stop in the middle. I was discussing about merge sort, where since I have told that merge sort, just like quick sort, it consists of two parts. One is the merging of the sorted algorithm, sorted arrays, and another is the sorting the arrays. Now, for sorting the arrays, we will use a concept of merge sort. Now, merging of the arrays concept, I have discussed in the last class how I can merge the two arrays, sorted arrays, by comparing each element of array 1 and array 2 respectively. I am comparing and storing the lower element, lower value element in my third array. And finally, I will have all the elements in my array in ascending or descending order, whatever you wish to run your algorithm for. Now, comes the concept of merge sort. Now, what happens in merge sort is, suppose you are given an array like this. Okay. Now, by using one algorithm, or what happens in merge sort is, suppose we are provided this array. So by doing this number of elements by 2, the algorithm roughly divides this entire array into two parts. Suppose this is the segment I am taking. So this is one part and this is another part. The array will be roughly divided into two parts each and every time. So suppose this is my left array, the first partition which I am doing, and this is my right array. So I am writing it as right one. Fine. So after the first partition, what I had, in one part, I have only 5 and 4. And in the other part, I have 1, 3, 2. Right? Now, I am provided an array like this. First, in order to execute the merge algorithm, we need to sort this array first, because we have already studied that merging of two sorted arrays can be there in merge sort. So once I have this array, I will call the merge sort algorithm. This algorithm will work on this array and it will divide this array into two roughly equal parts. It doesn't matter. Exact equal did not be there. And then after the first call to this merge sort array, I will have just like this two sectioned arrays. Now again, I will call merge sort do this algorithm, right? So when I will call merge sort to this array, again it will partition into two roughly equal parts. So one part is 5, another part is 4. So this I can say that this is the second call which I am doing. So I am writing it as this. Now the thing is, whenever I will again call merge sort to this particular array, since there is a single element in the array or list, so that means it is sorted. So we already know that single element means it's a sorted list. So I will return this as only 5. It is a sorted 5. Again, when I will call merge sort to this part, it is a single element. So I will return this as only 4, since it's a sorted 4. Now, after this, I will call the merge algorithm for this and the merge algorithm for this. Now, in my merge algorithm, we have studied that when there are two sub-arrays, it will compare and it will store first the lower value, then the upper value, right? So this is the output I will get. So from this section, the output which I will get is C, a sorted output, 4, 5. Similarly, what happens is, here I will again call the merge sort algorithm. Now, once I will call the merge sort algorithm, it will be divided into two parts. So suppose roughly see one part it is 1 and another part it is 3 and 2. Now when again I will call merge sort to this part, it will return me the 1 since it is already single element. Single element means it's sorted. Now again when I will call merge sort to this algorithm, it will again partition into two parts, 3 and 2. Now again when I will merge sort to this one, it will return me the single element 3, and then I will again call this merge sort to this one, it will return me the single element 2. Now I will call the merge algorithm to this one and also to this one. What will happen is it will return me the sorted one. Now this output has turned to be 2 and 3, and there is one output here. Now when I will call the merge to this one and also to this one, it will return me 1, 2 and 3, because it is the work of the merge algorithm to compare and finally give me the properly ascending order wala array. Now see, this entire thing I have from one section 4 and 5. If you can see, from one section I have 4 and 5. From another section I have 1, 2 and 3. Right? So my left part is sorted and my right part is also sorted now. Now again I will call the merge algorithm to both of these sorted arrays, so that finally in my array, when it will compare and store, it will first store like this. So given an array like this, finally we got our output like this. So by calling the merge algorithm and by calling the merge sort algorithm again and again, wherever it was necessary, we will call the merge sort algorithm over and over again until we will have a single element. Once I will have a single element, then I can call the merge algorithm to combine the left part and the right parts of the array. So this is the concept of divide and conquer. One entire array was given to me. I am going on dividing it into smaller and smaller subproblems till I can get a solution of my lowest subproblem, which I can combine and I can find the result of my final higher subproblem. Now, is the graphical concept of merge sort algorithm clear to you? The way I tried to represent how the merge and the merge sort together it is working to sort my array. Is this concept clear to you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Now, if we move on to the algorithm part also will have two parts. One is the merge sort and one is the merge, right? So if it is asked to write merge sort algorithm in your exam, you will have to write two parts together. Then the complete merge sort will be over. So suppose if I first write the algorithm for merge sort. So what is, I am writing it in algorithm structure, okay, not in C programming structure. So what is the input? The input is an unsorted array, and suppose the name of the array is A. And what will be the output? The output will be the sorted array, right? Now, suppose n is the length of the array. So A dot length, I am storing it is n. Now, if there was one element, I was simply returning the element. So if your n is equal to 1, that means there is only one element in your array, then you need to return that particular array. So this is the base case. So if n is equal to 1, we will return A. Whenever there was a single element, we were returning it, because whenever two elements will be together, we will have to compare. But one element means that smaller array is sorted array. Okay. And when we were creating left subarray and right subarray, okay, these things I need to write below, but here there is not much space. So I'm writing it side by side. You people do not write in side by side. You people write it one line after the other. So what was the concept of creating the left and the right parts? We were calling, right? So we were calling merge sort to our left part, and we were calling merge sort to our right part, right? And the values which we were coming, we were storing it in left part only, because when we were talking about this 1 2 3, so we partitioned it into two parts. This part had returned as 1 and 1 3 2, sorry. So this part returned as 1 and this part returned as 2 and 3, but we saved it in left part only, and this return we saved it in right part only. So when we will merge sort the left part, I will save the final result in left part. When we will merge sort the right section, I will save the final result in the right part only. Fine. Now, after doing everything, whenever there was a concept of merging the left and the right part, then we were calling the merge algorithm. Merge what? Merge the left array and the right array. So we will be merging, and finally we stored it in a merged array, array C or third array, whatever you can name it. So always we were going on calling these two parts till we were left with only one element. Whenever we was left with one element, we were returning it. And in between this, we were always calling the merge algorithm to merge my left and the right subparts, and we were storing it in another array, which I am naming it as merged array. And finally, what we did, we returned the merged array. That is, we returned the third array and printed it. So this is our entire merge sort part, the algorithm for merge sort. If you look carefully here, I have called another algorithm, merge algorithm. Now I will show you how the merge algorithm is working. So this is the algorithm merge. Here, what is the input? The input is two sorted lists or two sorted arrays, whatever you call it. Two sorted arrays or lists, whatever you call it, suppose S1 and S2. These are the inputs. And finally, one merged array or one merged sorted array will be the final output always. So this I am naming it, suppose, S. Okay. So what happens in merge? Always two sorted lists are provided to me. By comparing, we save it in another third list. And during this comparison, what I am checking? I am checking whether in which list the element is smaller than the other element is the list. If the element is smaller, I will copy that in my final sorted list, and I will increment that counter. So if the two lists have elements, so both of them are not empty. So while S1 not empty and S2 not empty, what I can do, if the first element in my first list was lesser than the first element in my second list, then I removed the first element. Suppose this is the same 1 and 2, and this is the same 3 and 6. So if the first element was lesser than the first element in my list 2, then I removed the first element from my list 1 and I entered the first element in my list 3. This was the thing I was doing. So the writing will be, if S1 dot, if it is lesser or it is equal, both of them have the same logic. If S1 dot first element is lesser than or equal to S2 dot first element, then I will remove the first element from S1 and I will insert the first element in S, right? So what did I do? In the first location of S, I inserted that element which I removed from S1. Fine. If the opposite happened, that is, if S2 element was lesser than this, then I will remove the element from S2 and I will insert that element in S. So just the opposite. Okay. So if always the first element in my first list is lesser, I will remove that and insert in my final list. Or if the element in my second list is lesser, I will remove that from second list and insert that in my final list. And this will this entire process will go on repeating until either S1 has become empty or S2 has become empty first, or both of them has become empty. So until and unless there is now no elements to copy or no elements to compare, we will be going on using the logic. Fine. Now, if the first element, if the first array is finished first, so there are no more elements left in the first array, what I will do? I will simply copy all the elements that are left in my second list to my final list. Or if my second list is finished, no more elements to do that. So if there are more elements also in S1, I will simply copy all the elements to my final list. So if any one of the list is finished first, we will simply copy all the elements from the other list finally to my final list. Why is that? Because the elements in my lists are already sorted. So always automatically it will be placed in sorted manner only. So the lower section of my code will be, there is not much space, so I am deleting it and writing it, but in your copy you write it just below this. Okay. Okay. So if S1 not empty, we will add the remaining S1 elements, or if S2 is not empty, then we will add the remaining S2 elements. And after doing all this, I will finally return S. So finally, the merged array, merged sorted array will be returned to the person who is wanting to execute this algorithm. So this is all about the merge sort algorithm, how the merge sort algorithm concept is executed, how the merging algorithm is done, how the merge sorting algorithm concept is executed. Now, what I have shown to you is the merge sort algorithms. I have not shown you the C program structures. The same concept is implemented in C. So first I will try to finish the syllabus. Then if time is there, then we will be doing that. So with this concept, our this chapter is finished. So the sorting chapter is finished, and all sort of sorting. So insertion, selection, bubble, then there is quick sort, merge sort. So all type of sorting which are there in your syllabus, I have covered. So with this module or this chapter ends. Now we will move on to the next chapter, that is the graphs chapter. Anyone has any query up to what we were talking about today?
No, ma'am.
Okay. One minute. Okay. So we will study about graph. Now, as we all know that graph is an abstract data structure, and graph is used to implement certain mathematical concepts. So what is a graph? It is basically what? So it is basically what? It is basically a collection of vertices which are also known as nodes and edges that connects these vertices. So a collection of nodes and edges which will connect these vertices together is known as the concept of graph. So why is graph used? Because if we have known the concept of trees, what does trees look like? Trees always have a parent to child relationship between the nodes, but graph does not have that typical constraint. Any kind of complex relationships can be represented using the concept of graphs. So why is this useful? Suppose I need to represent a transportation network in which some nodes are airports, then there is some ports. So if I need to I want to know that which way the flights can go, or if I follow these nodes, the flight will reach earlier, or if I follow this particular node, the ship or the cargo will reach earlier. So like this, in order to find out the shipping routes or the airline flight routes, we actually use the cities as the nodes and the edges or the distance between them as the as the edges, and this gives us the concept of how to go from one place to another. So if you travel in flight, you people have seen that sometimes there is a hop in airport. So from suppose from Ranchi to suppose Hyderabad you are trying to book, and there is a layover in Delhi. Now, why is this the layover in Delhi and not the layover in Tiruchirappalli? Because the airline navigation systems, they use these mathematical concepts to understand that in order to reach Delhi, if in order to reach from Ranchi to Hyderabad, uh, if I follow the straight path, then maybe my distance will be more. But if I follow a via path, then my distance will be less. And this via path, which station or which airport they need to hop in order to lower their distance so that their fuel charge will be minimum, this type of concepts or this type of calculations, they are done using the concept of graphs. So this is the practical implementation of graph which I am trying to say to you. So when we talk about graph, we actually mean two type of graph. One is the directed graph and another is the non-directed graph. Now from directed graph, as the name suggests, since suppose there will be a few nodes and the paths will be directed paths. If there is a path between one node to another, there will be a directed path. So if for this graph, if I am asked that how many vertices or nodes are there, I will say 4. The nodes or the vertices are A, B and C, D. But if I asked how many edges will be there, I will say one is between A to B, another is between B to C, another is between B to D, but another is between D to C. But the same concept, if I do it is non-directed graph, what will happen is the number of vertices will be same, but the number of edges will increase because there can be one path between A to B, and also from B I may reach A. Similarly, B to C, C to B, similarly B to D, D to B, and similarly C to D, D to C. So from each node, I can go either from B to D or D to B. No direction is maintained. But for directed graphs, I can only reach from B to D and not from D to B. So this is the difference between the concept of a directed and non-directed graph. But how can I convert a non-directed graph into a directed graph? So non-directed means this. So there will be a path from A to B and B to D. So like this I can consider. So like this I can consider. So like this I can consider. Like this I can consider. So if I have to represent these all things in the form of directed graphs, I will draw my figure like this: A to B and B to A, B to C and C to B. So see, all have been represented. So we can convert non-directed graphs to directed graphs, but directed graphs to non-directed graphs will be hard to convert. Fine. And there is another concept of graph which is known as weighted graph. Now, which this weighted graph concept only is used in this aviation prop things. Whenever besides this age also I will add one parameter, that is I will add the weight of each edge. Suppose this is the weight I am adding. Now this is known as a weighted directed graph, since each edge has a value associated with it also. If it is in kilometer, this can be in meters, this can be in miles, whatever unit can it be, but there is a weight associated with this edge. So this is the concept of weighted graph. Now weighted graph can be implemented both in non-directed graph and in directed graph. Both in directed and non-directed graphs, you may have the concept of weighted graphs. Okay. So this was the overall concept of initial concept of graphs. Now, how do we implement or we show the graph? We show graph in two ways rather. One is the adjacency list. Another is the adjacency matrix. Okay. Now, suppose the figure which I am drawing, fine. This is one figure. So first I will draw how many nodes are there in adjacency list. I will first draw the nodes. Then from which node to which node I may reach, I will be indicating that. From B I may reach C, and also from B I may reach D. Then from C, I cannot reach anywhere, but from D, I may reach C. So this is the way. Now, if certain weights are assigned to this also, then first I will write the name of the node where I can reach from this node and the weight associated with it. Fine. So this will be 4, this will be 2, and this will be 1. So this is the way how we show the linked list. This concept is known as linked list. We will see about it later. So an array where each cell will represent a vertex and each element in the array is going to be the list, and this list will contain all other vertices. So an array of linked lists is what known as adjacency list, and I can represent my graph like this, be it a directed graph or a non-directed graph or a weighted graph or a non-weighted graph. I can use this concept. Now, what is the concept of adjacency matrix? Now, adjacency matrix will be a n into n matrix where n will be the number of vertices. So here I had 4 vertices, A, B, C, D. So A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Now, the rule is if unweighted graph is given, wherever there is an edge from one vertex to another vertex, I will put 1. If there is no edge, I will put 0. And if a weighted graph is given, wherever there is a vertex from one node to another, I will put the value of that weight. So from A to B, A to A, it is 0. From A to B, it is 3. But there is no other vertices to be reached from A. I will simply get 0. Similarly, from B, I can reach C with the value 4 and D with the value 2. So here, everything is 0. From C, I cannot reach anywhere. So all are 0. From D, I can only reach C with the value 1. So it is like this. This is the example I showed with directed weighted graph. It was non-weighted graph. So this 3, 4 I will have replaced with 1. Okay. And if it is a non-directed graph, so from A to B I will put 1, and again from B to A also I will put 1. So whenever there will be one edge, I will simply put 1. If no edge, I will put 0 in case of unweighted graph. So this is the concept about the introductory concept about the graph. So for Sai Bhasha students, I will just share the for Dumka students, you people please write your name in the chat box. Name hyphen your department in the chat box. And for Sai Bhasha students, I am sharing the attendance QR code. You people please mark your attendance, okay? So this was all about today's class, the initial concepts about graphs, and in the next class, we will be studying about the graph traversal algorithms. Okay.